Once upon a time, there was a great war between the Titans, huge monsters that were worshipped as gods by primitive humans. They fought fiercely for many years, causing massive destruction and death until they finally disappeared and humanity was able to rebuild itself. But what if these monsters aren't really gone? What if they're still out there somewhere? And what would happen if they met again today? Well, we'll tell you all about it right here. Hello, everyone. I'm your host and you're watching this channel. Join me as we explore the greatest stories ever told of courage, sacrifice, adventure, love, and hope. Today, we will tell you the story of how Godzilla and Kong met and who would win in a fight between them. Let's get started. In the depths of the ocean, far below the surface where sunlight cannot penetrate, lives the mightiest of all creatures, Godzilla. His body is so massive that it blocks out the light of day. His scales are harder than steel and his breath can destroy entire cities. He has been worshipped as a god by many different cultures throughout history. But what is he doing now? Well, not much really. He spends most of his time sleeping or eating, but occasionally he surfaces to take a look at the world above the water and see what humans are up to. And it's not often that something catches his interest, but lately there have been strange sounds coming from the surface that he just caught and seemed to place. They sound like loud booms followed by screams and the crash of buildings. It sounds exciting and dangerous, which makes Godzilla curious. He wants to know what's going on up there. Meanwhile, on a remote island, scientists are trying to discover the source of these mysterious sounds. They've ruled out everything from earthquakes to volcanic eruptions, but nothing seems to be causing them. Just when they're about to give up, one of the scientists, Dr. Eileen Andrews, gets an idea. She remembers hearing stories about giant monsters called Titans that lived deep in the ocean. Could they be responsible for the sounds? To find out, she and her team set out into the sea to search for Godzilla, but they're not alone. Also looking for answers is another group of scientists led by Dr. Nathan Lind. They believe the sounds are coming from a huge creature living in the hollow earth, an inner world hidden inside our own. Their search leads them to the same place, the middle of the Pacific Ocean. There they meet up with Dr. Andrews and her crew, and together they decide to investigate further. They go down into the ocean and find an enormous creature unlike anything they've ever seen before. Its skin is green and scaly. Its eyes are red and glowing, and it breathes out a terrible stench that makes them all sick. But despite its size and power, the creature doesn't seem to be aggressive. It just watches them curiously as if it's never seen a human before. Then suddenly it opens its mouth and speaks. Its voice is deep and booming, like the roar of a waterfall. It introduces itself as Kong and asks who they are and what they're doing in its home. The scientists are shocked. They didn't know the creature could speak, let alone understand English. But they quickly recover and begin asking Kong questions about the sounds. Kong tells them he doesn't know what they're talking about, but he does offer to show them around his home. So they agree and follow him deeper into the ocean. As they swim alongside Kong, the scientists realize just how big he really is. His body is covered in thick, dark fur that looks like tangled vines. His arms are long and muscular, strong enough to crush bones with ease. And his eyes are filled with intelligence and curiosity. He's like nothing they've ever seen before. Suddenly, the water around them begins to shake and a giant squid-like monster rises out of the darkness. It has huge tentacles that lash out at them and sharp teeth that glisten in the darkness. Before any of the scientists can react, Kong steps in front of them and attacks the monster. The two creatures fight fiercely, smashing into each other and sending shockwaves through the water. The scientists watch in awe as Kong uses his strength and agility to battle the monster. Finally, he manages to defeat it and the creature retreats back into the darkness. Kong turns to the scientists and bows his head in submission. They've witnessed true power and they're humbled by it, but their time in the ocean is running out. They need to get back to the surface before they run out of air. So they say goodbye to Kong and head back up to the top of the water. Once they're back on solid ground, The scientists begin planning their next move. They want to find out more about Kong and the other monsters that live in the ocean, but they also don't want to provoke Godzilla or any of the other titans. They decide to send a message down to Kong asking him to meet them in the middle of the ocean so they can talk. Kong agrees, and soon he's swimming toward them, his massive body breaking through the surface of the water. The scientists are amazed by his size and power. They can't believe such a creature actually exists. They ask Kong more questions about the other monsters, and he tells them that they were all part of an ancient race that lived in the ocean millions of years ago. They were powerful beyond their wildest dreams and ruled over all other creatures in the sea. But then something happened, something that caused them to retreat into the depths and hide from the world. The scientists are intrigued and want to know more, but suddenly the water around them begins to shake. They all look up to see a huge shape rising out of the depths. It's even bigger than Kong, and its scales are as hard as armor. Godzilla has arrived. The scientists are terrified, but Kong isn't afraid. He knows Godzilla well and has fought alongside him many times in the past. He greets his old friend warmly and introduces the scientists. Godzilla is curious and asks many questions, but he can sense that these creatures are different from any others he's seen before. They're small and weak, yet they're intelligent and curious. He decides to trust Kong and allows the scientists to come closer. They measure and scan Godzilla's body, taking samples of his skin and hair to study. They are amazed by his size and strength and try to imagine what life was like when he ruled the Earth. But Godzilla isn't interested in talking about the past. He wants to know what's happening in the present. And the scientists tell him about the strange sounds that have been heard all over the world. Godzilla is intrigued and decides to investigate. They all head to the surface, where the scientists set up a base of operations. From here, they'll be able to monitor the situation and hopefully figure out what's going on. But they haven't been at the surface for long when the sounds start again. This time they're louder and closer than ever before. Godzilla and Kong exchange worried glances. Whatever is making these sounds is getting closer, and whatever it is, it's powerful. As the sounds grow louder, a giant shape begins to take form on the horizon. It's huge and terrifying, like something out of a nightmare. The scientists are frozen with fear, but Godzilla and Kong are ready to fight. They charge forward, roaring with all their might. The three of them attack the creature, but it's too strong for them to handle alone. They need help. Kong calls out to his fellow titans, and soon they arrive, hundreds of giant monsters from the ocean, each one more terrifying than the last. Together, they form a massive army and charge toward the creature. The battle is fierce and neither side is able to gain the upper hand. Finally, Godzilla steps forward. He knows what he has to do. He takes a deep breath and fires a massive atomic blast from his mouth. The creature is hit and it lets out a deafening roar as it collapses to the ground. The Titans cheer and the scientists are amazed. They've just witnessed the true power of the Titans. From that day on, the Titans ruled over the Earth once again, protecting it from harm and ensuring the safety of its inhabitants. Humans marveled at their size and strength, worshipping them as gods. But the Titans knew they had a responsibility to protect the Earth, no matter how much humans worship them. After all, it was their home too. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content from Fabulous M. With that said, thanks for watching and until next time.